Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. As I said at the top of the show, we're going to be focusing in on a couple of big matches and having interviews to help us build up towards them. Tomorrow, a big one on the footballing front. SuperSport United and Platinum Stars will lock horns at the Orlando Stadium tomorrow in the final of this year's Telkom Knockout competition. The winner will walk away with 4.5 million rand. The game also presents an opportunity for United to put an end to their trophy drought, while Duqueno will be aiming to add a third cup to their cabinet in the space of just 2 seasons. We're now joined in studio by soccer analyst Mninawa Ntloko. Welcome to Morning Live.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what can we expect from tomorrow's match? It always seems that when we don't have one of the big teams, Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, playing in the final, that some people kind of lose interest a little bit, whether rightly or wrongly. But now we've got 2 teams that have played and played very well to get to the final. What do you expect to happen at Orlando Stadium tomorrow?
I think both teams deserve to get to this stage of the tournament. Of course, we know this is probably, this is the 13th time in the 52 cups we've had since the advent of the PSL that cup final has not featured either Chiefs, Pirates or Sundowns. But be that as it may, I don't think it should detract anyway from these 2 teams. These 2 teams actually worked very hard to get to the final, and this match I think is very close. I think it's very difficult to call. I mean, I've spoken to a couple of people just to get a view of which way do they think it will go, and it's very difficult because you've got a Gordon Nickerson at SuperSport who's won who's won league titles, but the problem is that the cups have not been as forthcoming as the league titles. On the other side, you've got the defending champions, Platinum Stars, and Freeze. Freeze has been there, done that, is actually attempting to become the second team after Kaizer Chiefs to actually defend it. So I think a lot of the ingredients that we normally get for a cup game are there, and I'm looking forward to a great cup final.
And I suppose also for football fans out there, they shouldn't just follow their teams, they should follow where the good football is at. And quite rightly, these are the 2 teams that have played the better football to get into the final.
Most definitely. I mean, if you look at the players from the 2 sides, both sides have got some great players. I don't see, cup football is cup football, and you expect to get a good game, whichever team that actually gets to the final. And I think we need to get past this whole idea that only a Chiefs, Pirates or Sundowns needs to be a final before people can actually understand that it's a cup final. And I think people must go to the stadium and watch this game, because I for one, am expecting a very great game.
Coach Gordon Nickerson was at pains yesterday to point out that they are the underdogs because it is Platinum Stars that are the defending champions. However, it was United that beat Orlando Pirates at the Orlando Stadium. Who do you think has the advantage going into tomorrow's game?
Tell you what, really, I love Gordon the way he plays the mind games. But because from where I'm sitting, as I said, it's very close to call, regardless of the fact that Platinum Stars are actually the defending champions. I think SuperSport United have played very well to get here. I mean, you've seen how they've played since Gordon arrived. And I think, he's instilled the spirit in the team. They're not going there thinking that they are the underdogs, regardless what anyone else can say. The fact remains is that they will start on an even footing with Platinum Stars. And it sets up a very great potentially a very great game. I mean, you look at some of the players that he rested at the weekend because they were on yellow cards. Your Michael Mortons, and they're coming to this side. They've got your Tuso Palas. They've got SuperSport United are attacking minded side, and I think for me, if you go up against a team like Platinum Stars, who have been very resolute over the last couple of games, they might have gone off a bit off the boil a bit, but you saw when Eliza Rogers came back to the fore, and everyone has been talking about him. So it opens it up a bit, and I think you've got potential aside that a game that can actually give us a lot of goals.
All right, so you expect a lot of goals to be happening tomorrow at Orlando Stadium. Let's speak a little bit about the Nelson Mandela Challenge. Bafana Bafana up against Cote d'Ivoire in Nelspruit. Some would say it's a rather watered-down affair, the fact that it isn't on a FIFA date, so we haven't been able to have any of our overseas-based players. And Shakes Mashaba actually raising the point that perhaps in the future we should actually look at having this match on a FIFA date. Yeah,
most definitely. I think I have to agree with him because, if you look at after the highlights and the euphoria of the qualifiers of the African Nations Cup, and then this game feels a bit rushed when it comes in as it has done, and you've got both sides going to the game without the players that we have gotten used to over the last couple of months. But I think it's also an opportunity for some of these players to put their hand up, because no one has actually booked their place to Equatorial Guinea, and a lot of these players can actually surprise. I mean, there's injuries, potentially injuries. There's clubs maybe not wanting to play. You know, normally what happens during AFCON, some of these teams in Europe say that no, it's actually smack in the middle of their season. So you might have those challenges. And I think some of these players, I mean, I look at a guy like Tolani from Polokwane City. He's the league's top goal scorer, and you know, this is one area that has been a challenge for Bafana getting the goals. And I saw with Tokelo Randi finally coming to the fore, he now faces a bit of an injury problem, and this is an opportunity for him to put his hand up. And not just him, there are several other players here who might actually use this opportunity. And I mean, this is the national team, for crying out loud, and as far as I'm concerned, if you put on a Bafana jersey, regardless who you are, regardless in what division you play in, the fact remains is this is your country, you play to your best, and we don't expect anything less than that. And the bottom line for me is, I don't care who's fielded on Sunday, this is Bafana.
Absolutely, but I think that the players from Cote d'Ivoire will feel the same way, that even though their big stars aren't there, for those younger players that are getting an opportunity, just like in Bafana, they're also going to want to stake their claim in the regular starting lineup. So I suppose you're going to see that hunger, and that's going to make for a good game.
Most definitely. I mean, we've played Ivory Coast over the years. We've had some great contests between the two sides. I mean, they've also qualified for AFCON, and their coach Renat is also doing the same thing. He's looking at players that ordinarily he wouldn't have had in this squad. And I mean, it's the same thing for us. They're already in Nelspruit, and I think for me, the bottom line is this is an international fixture, and we treat it as such.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. Mninawa Ntloko is our football analyst, chatting about the Nelson Mandela Challenge. It's Bafana up against Cote d'Ivoire. And Bafana yesterday getting the news that they've moved up in the world rankings. They're now up to 51 in the world. So looking very good for them. All right, so that's how we conclude your sport.